You want to be the best. You spend hours and hours a day looking up Call of Duty tips and tricks videos, best loadouts, best guns, rely on different internet personalities, and maybe even mimic some professional players. But have you seen any improvement in your game? Now, there's something to be said about staying in the loop, knowing the current meta, patches, game balances, but outside of that, has any of the other videos helped you improve your game as a Call of Duty player, or have they just made you a YouTube content consumer? My name is Yoko. I'm a 27-year-old man-child who's been playing Call of Duty ever since 2003 when it first came out. I've participated in thousands of tournaments, local and online, won a couple bucks here and there, and the only reason I started this YouTube channel was to help people like you become better at Call of Duty, and maybe help myself along the way. So there's no other way around it than to say this is going to be the longest video I've probably ever made, and the longest I'm ever going to make. There's going to be a bunch of information and talking in this, so if that's not your cup of tea, hey, I understand. And I'm going to leave timestamps down below if there's maybe just one or two things that you want to hear, and you don't want to hear me ramble on. But I'm going to teach you things like map awareness, aim, movement, and anything in between that I can to help you think and act like a professional Call of Duty player when you touch the game. Now, there are many questions when it comes to the controversy of the perfect aim, like perfect sensitivity. What controller or mouse and keyboard should I use? What about different hand positions for a controller or for a mouse? The list can really go on and on, but like most things in life, the real answer is it takes 50% of your mental capabilities and 50% of your physical capabilities. Now, on the physical side, that's all about developing muscle memory and getting adjusted to the actions needed, just in the same way that a basketball player will practice their shot. And the mental way is to thinking ahead and to plan every time you're going to shoot, just like a golf player would. You're just thinking ahead about your next move. Now, to find your perfect aim, and I can't stress yours, start by sticking with one controller, one mouse and keyboard, just one peripheral, okay? But at least before you go spending $1,000 on upgrades, and we'll talk more about that later. But the same equipment, and after zeroing it in on your favorite sensitivity, assuming you're playing with it a little bit, use that for about 3 months, okay? And after about 3 months, you'll notice that your performance is going to start to flatline or plateau. Now, regarding aim and accuracy, remember, I'm not measuring success here by your KD. I mean, we're looking to visually hitting more shots consistently week by week. Now, KD can be influenced by many, many different things, and I don't think that's a good tract of how good your aim is getting. I think actually hitting the shots is a better representation. For example, Shroud's a really good player. He has terrific accuracy, but he doesn't have the highest KD in every single game. Yet he's renowned for his aim, and his aim bot, like, you're looking to hit more shots consistently week by week. Now, I used to track my sniper shots and headshots ratio after every game as an example. And as another example of this, I suggested in my quickscoping video that I made a couple months ago to go into practice mode and play the 5-shot, 5-kill game. This is where you're trying to kill 5 enemies in a row without any hit markers or missing, and then you're going to move up to try to kill 5 enemies in a row with headshots without missing. And once you can do that, then you're going to start speeding up your movement speed, speeding up how fast you aim in and pull the trigger, just to try to increase the difficulty up and up and up. And then when you feel like you've got all the basics, then you hop into a multiplayer game as you want to get a feel for the player base reactions on how they react and how to correct your aim in real time, right? You're putting yourself in a real kind of quote unquote stressful. Now, in terms of upgrading your peripherals, like a basic controller to a SCUF or a Walmart mouse and keyboard to a nice Steel series, understand that most players here are not going to see any improvement outside of the initial placebo effect of getting this new shiny object. Now, if you haven't mastered the basics, upgrading to something better can lead to more diminishing returns because you're just not at that level to fully take advantage of everything it can offer. On the other side, maybe you're a prodigy. Maybe you're just a prodigy and the only thing holding you back is a $300 controller or mouse and keyboard. Maybe. So you can aim. Alright, well now let's get you moving in and out of range to capitalize on the perfect position to take the perfect shot without getting shot yourself. Now, movement has seen many changes over the Call of Duty years, from speed changes to additions like sliding, dolphin diving, wall running, and even jetpacks, making mastering movement in Call of Duty just as vital as anything else in the game. Now, this leads to only the most paranoid or forward-thinking of people to be the best at it, because it's everywhere. But movement can be closely tied to map awareness here, in that you need to know the advantages, disadvantages, and all of your options or possibilities to take place in every single part of the map. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, right? But that's exactly what Call of Duty pros do. They practice the exact same map they go through exact same scenarios and practice to try to flush out any problems or anything else that could happen randomly so that they can. Now, as Call of Duty has gone along, the new standard basic meta has changed, and it also requires you to be at least good at something like drop shotting, jump shooting, crouch shot, bunny hopping, or literally anything else to confuse your opponent. Now, the big mistake I'm going to point out here is falling into a pattern of just using one or two of these. It'd be like a boxer only throwing a jab for his whole career. I mean, you're kind of limiting yourself and showing the other team your weaknesses or plans during a gunfight. So you should mix it up and try to confuse the other team. And this is what we call in the fighting game as the 50-50, right? They're trying to guess if you're going to drop shot, if you're going to jump, you're going to crouch at any type of engagement. And this will, if you do it equally, right, if you're not getting into a pattern, this will confuse the hell out of them, and it may even throw them off, giving you the upper hand during a gunfight.
What the fuck was that? That was aim assist, that's what that was. Are you sure? Yes.
Now, to take this step further is to become the master at it itself, and that is to know exactly when to use what. Like, as an example, drop shotting in a building may be a good or a bad idea, judging by the things like the number of enemies outside, the exits and entrances, the probability of being stunned, pinned up, or shot in the back. Like the famous quote goes, float like a butterfly and sting like a nuclear missile. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Pretty sure. So pretty recently, there was an interesting study on Grandmaster chess players claiming that at the highest level, they could burn about 6,000 calories in a single day playing chess. Now, if you don't think that's a lot, hop on the old treadmill, run for an hour, and stare at your incomparable results. Now, the reason they burn so much is thinking of every single fathomable possibility, how to counter it, where they would lose or gain advantages, and how to implement the whole plan in mostly split-second decisions. Now, map awareness is no different here, knowing the different lines of sight that you can engage or be shot down from, type of map design, as an example a 3-lane map versus a whatever else, spawn locations and their behaviors, head glitch spots, walls that can be shot through, and anything unique to the map itself, like Piccadilly going underground or the pipes in Gunrunner in Modern Warfare where you can get on top of the building. Now, the second part of this is knowing the people you are fighting on the map. Where are they and what they're doing? Are there snipers sitting in windows? Are there people rushing through middle with submachine guns? Is that guy going to keep camping the corner? And how do I counter those things? If I use an AR and keep my distance for a minute or two, am I going to get flanked? Where are my teammates in relation to me? Where's most of the other team? These are things that you have to constantly keep track of. And it sounds like a lot because it is, but after a while you do find yourself doing it subconsciously. You just didn't know this is what you were doing. Or maybe you weren't, and maybe this is why you're watching the video. Now, as a rule of thumb here, your team is probably always going to push forward unless they are extremely disciplined and coordinated. But let's face it, you're probably playing in pubs, so yeah, that's not going to happen. So if they are winning gunfights, the game is going to start spawning the other team behind you, or in the case that your team occupies both quote-unquote major spawns or the original spawns in the beginning, they're going to spawn them in the middle. Team deathmatch, domination, hard, where your team just gets really aggressive and just keeps pushing into the spawns. Now, when this happens, there's a couple things you could do, but the first thing you could do is pick a major lane or traffic area that's near one of the major spawns. If you're playing an objective, then try to pick the one closest to the objective or furthest away from the objective. But then you're going to put your back up against a wall if at all possible, and you're going to watch the map for the movement of the players and the kill feed. Now, there's a 50% chance that they will spawn in front of you at the major spawn, or they're going to spawn in the middle of the map or on the other side. But hey, at least you won't get shot in the back this way. Now, strategic positioning here is another thing I'm going to touch on, as learning when to take fights, even if you can win the gunfight, may be more important than winning the gunfight itself. After all, if you win a open field gunfight and kill the guy, but you're at 50% health, it's going to take that many less bullets to down you in the back, or assuming you get into another gunfight 2 or 3 seconds after that, and you're not fully healed yet. So you not only have to learn when, how, there's a lot in map awareness. There's just so much. It's like being a general. You just have to completely think about everything, right? If you can use the M4 and you're down a extremely exposed lane and you can kill the MP5 guy running from the spawn, but if that lane is notorious for having snipers down there, it may not be worth it. Alright, so this is the one that's going to get me the most flack. So here we go. Now, there are literally so many videos out there that provide
fake news
on guns and best guns and OP guns that could throw them all into the oceans of Earth, and we would literally still flood into outer space. Okay, now there are two truths, and I'm going to preference here truth by choosing the best gun, OP gun, top tier gun, and choosing the gun that's most comfortable for you and your playstyle. Now, the first truth here is that there is a meta. There are OP guns in like every single Modern Warfare DLC gun the first month of this creation, or others that are just performing better due to game balances, patches, or just designed better just to be better. Now, as of this video, the MAC-10 is crushing in Warzone as an example, or the SPR when it first came out with the hit scan glitched ammo. Yeah, that was great. Now, the second truth in this is that comfortableness with any type of gun can lend itself to have more benefits and challenge the top tier list itself if you're continuing to use that and be consistent and learn all the ins and outs of it. Now, there's some people will just look up a YouTube video and see what the best is and go for it, and that may not be the best for them. Now, Tfue was a great example of this when he played Warzone, as no one on the planet really even took the Ram serious until they started seeing him pushing out clips daily of him just slapping people to death, and then he stood by it, despite whatever the gods of COD themselves had to say. And objectively, it really wasn't the best gun, but due to his constant use, the comfortableness that he had with it, and the general gaming skill he possesses, he could make it hang with the rest. So what should I do? Well, you should experiment and find out what you love. And then after that, after you've found out what you love and your favorite playstyle, then if you want to watch videos, or if you have to, try to watch people that are going to be objective as possible, like an Exclusive Ace, a JGOD, a Drifter, you know the ones I'm talking about, someone like them. And you need to stay away from people that are hyped up COD pros, internet personalities, or the oh my god dude, 999 kills, OP broken best gun ever. These type of videos you need to stay away from it, at least in the terms of information. Okay, Dr. Disrespect makes me laugh. K3 or Swag can definitely be relatable, and Scump's a pretty cool dude. But at the end of the day, they're trying to sell you a product to benefit them, and not necessarily information to benefit you. Okay, that's not how they came up, and that's not what they're doing. That's not exactly what they're about. It would be like watching a big Hollywood martial arts movie and then taking it word for word as if it was coming from a black belt in his jiu-jitsu gym. It just doesn't make sense. Now, when I was young, I always thought the phrase time is money meant you're wasting time that could be spent being productive or making money itself. It's not until I got older that I realized it means time is money, a type of currency that you yourself determine the value of. Spending an hour a day practicing trick shots is valuable in the terms of content creation or gaming. I mean, that's how FaZe got started. Practice makes perfect doesn't mean you're going to get better with time. It means you failed enough times and went down the wrong path so many times that now you know exactly what one looks like before you go down there. Now, there's no shortcut for practicing or hard work, and I'm preaching consistency. You need to find a playstyle, gun, or general outlook on the game that you love and have a passion for, and try to stick with it. Doesn't mean you can't try out others, and it doesn't mean if you found a main, example, if you're a quickscoper, or if you love sweating with the MP5, that you can't veer off and do something else. I think you should. It shouldn't be stagnant. But as a general theme of a type of player, you need to figure out what kind of player you want to be, which one you love. If you want to be the best quickscoper, then do it. You want to master the search and destroy ninja defuse, then go for it. But try to stick with it. And don't give up just because you were quickscoping, as an example, and you died to an MP5. And so you make the excuse that it was easier for them to kill you because they used a better gun. So now you're switching to the same gun every time you die because you're getting pissed. You don't grow that way. Now, every gamer needs rest or they're going to get gamer fatigue. Skill-based matchmaking has made it harder to simply just let off the gas for a couple games or even a couple days without tanking your stats. It used to be if you were tired of sweating out and trying to get top of the leaderboard, you could just use a pistol or play sticks and stones or something like that and try to calm down for a second, but skill-based matchmaking's kind of reduced that for you. So what I suggest now is to play a single-player game, maybe something totally different that's not even a shooting game, kind of like Minecraft, just to unwind, let loose until you're 100% back again, and then back to the grind. Now, if you are quote-unquote on top of the world, right, you're in your fighting prime, you're not just in shape, you're in your fighting prime, then go test yourself. Start challenging people to 1v1s, or if you have a squad, do squad v squads. Start entering into local tournaments. I know the big COVID right now has a restriction about a bunch of that, but there's still people doing it. If not, you can do free ones that are online, and there's a ton of them, like the website of UMG. And you'll try to figure out if you're actually better or worse than you really are. Now, if you start to win, then reflect on why you won and how you won, and then try to up the ante. More money means there's going to be harder opponents. Now, on the other side, if, you know, you're losing, then try to figure out what you can do differently. And I'm not talking about the final kill or the final play. Like, I'm looking at the entire game, the entire session that you played, and try to figure out what's happening and how you can improve to be that better player. In the end, you will only be as good as you want to be. Not everyone's going to become a CDL champion. Now, sometimes that's because of time constraints, different pathways in life. You know, this is less than just a game to them. It's just something that passed the time. Lack of motivation or drive. Maybe they want to be, but they just don't want to put the time in. Or maybe the brain just doesn't process the way that a grandmaster's chess player thinking skills can. I mean, that happens too. But despite that, everybody does have the ability to be better. And I hope this video can be one stepping stone on your way across that journey. I'm Yoko for Yoko Gaming. Thanks for watching as always. I love you. Peace.
Got him, dude. No, he was under his own. Got one. Oh my god, they're so garbage. No, fuck. Get the gun! Nice. Dude, you won't set the turn up.
I fed down one. They're still looking for me.
Dude, set the turn up. Go for it. Fuck it. Mask off. Ask motherfucking off. No, he shot!
They were shooting my.
No!
My bad.